Tim Daggett is still to come. We're wondering how much more pressure his leg can stand and how much more pain his mind can stand as Coca-Cola presents the Olympic trials. The Olympic trials continue to test skill, the ability to handle pressure, and in the case of Tim Daggett, the ability of one man to endure pain like few of us have felt, while exhibiting courage like few of us will know. He has already earned one of sport's most cherished reputations as the clutch performer in Los Angeles who guaranteed a gold medal for the United States. It was the celebration of a moment in Tim's life that would be difficult to top. Yet Tim felt that he had more to give to gymnastics and to himself. But as he moved toward this year's Olympics, the only thing that would give were the bones in Tim's left leg. In Rotterdam, at the 1987 World Championships, Tim performed a vault he had practiced hundreds of times. Yet this once his leg exploded on impact, severing an artery and both bones in his lower leg. There was a move to get back to the United States for surgery, but the Dutch doctors said, if we don't operate, you'll lose the leg. They did, and he didn't.
When I first injured myself, initially the thing we had to overcome was saving a leg. And when you consider that that was a possibility less than 9 months ago, and just to be able to go out on the floor and to try, that made me feel real good.
What should have been 2 years of recuperation became 6 months. As in April, Tim made a symbolic effort in competition to begin rebuilding a gold medal confidence that had been broken down like his leg. This week in Salt Lake came his first competitive effort since the accident on the same apparatus on which the accident took place.
You know, I was running down the runway, and I had to go for it, but I haven't hit the board hard yet. When I'd done that in the past, I got a lot of pain, and it could have gone right there, you know, and it didn't.
As he limps and grimaces this week, in this last chance at a comeback, it's clear the odds for this recovery may be longer than the odds on the gold medal of '84.
I'm not boasting here, but I've won already. I really have. And whether I go to Seoul as a member of the 1988 Olympic gymnastics team from the United States, it's not as important as me getting to this position. I'm going to be giving it everything I got. And I still think that I'm going to be on that plane September 5th going to Seoul.
Now remember, Tim is one of 5 gymnasts who came here to Salt Lake City, counting 100% of his effort here at these Olympic trials toward his final mark. Other gymnasts only counting 60% of their effort. So right now, thinking that he had a 9.0 on the floor exercise in the first rotation really puts pressure on him to nail this pommel horse routine.
Well, it couldn't be a better event for Tim Daggett. He won a bronze medal in '84 at the Olympic Games on the pommel horse, and he just has a sense of security about him when he works pommel horse. He exudes confidence, and that's a great exercise.
He bangs it down. We project that Tim is falling in danger of dropping out of the top 10, but this routine may have changed that.
Take another look in slow motion. He breaks into his flare, takes it up nice and high for a very solid landing on his dismount.
Tim is here sharing these moments with his now close friend, a Soviet emigre by the name of Yefim Furman, his coach, and Daggett receives a 9.90. And after we punch the calculator, we'll find out just how far he has come back into the story. Scott Johnson, we believe, has a much better standing. He, like Daggett, must count 100% of his Olympic trial score toward his effort. His broken hand prevented his performance at the U.S. Nationals. And this will be his performance on the still rings. 3 apparatus in use simultaneously here in this 6-rotation format.
And Scott's mount will demonstrate how powerful a gymnast he is. Watch how he supports himself between the rings with his body absolutely level. It's called a Maltese. More power there, the popular iron cross. Now, in order to keep these rings stationary, Scott has to imagine the center of his body, his center of gravity, if you will, going just straight up and down. His body looks like it's going in a circular fashion, but his center is going straight up and down. If it gets anywhere other than straight up and down, he generates swing. So far, he's in excellent control. that slight swing is very acceptable.
The gold medal in 1984, another effort in 1988, which looks pretty good right now. And along the way for Scott Johnson, a learning lesson in some of the harsh financial realities of gymnastics.
When you have to deal with the pressures of trying to finance yourself and pay the monthly bills, you know, there's a lot of stress when you can't do that. It takes away from your training. It's hard for a person to concentrate. It was hard for me to concentrate on gymnastics when I was worried about going bankrupt and having to sell, you know, my car and the whole thing. And it was very scary. And once McDonald's offered me a job with a management developmental program, I couldn't turn it down. You know, it was the best offer that I've ever had.
Now, also working with us today is Becky Dixon, who's with Scott's partner, wife Lori.
Lori, a 9.75 for Scott on the rings. What's your reaction? You seem to enjoy the performance.
Yeah, well, that's what we were hoping. Is he's got to average a 9.7 to make the Olympic team, and 9.75, well, he's keeping right up there. We just hope that he averages 9.7 all the rest of the events, and he'll have it home free. So we're counting the scores and comparing them to all the others. And
many of the athletes have told us that the Olympic trials are the most nerve-wracking, most tense event of any event they compete in. What's it like for the athlete's wife?
Terrible. It's petrified. This is the most intense meet I have ever watched, and yeah, well, as you can see, I'm stuttering. I'm very nervous.
Thank you, Lori. Best of luck to Scott. Thanks.
If the competition ended right now, we project that Scott Johnson would be on the Olympic team. Tim Daggett would not be. Charles Lakes is the best American right now in Salt Lake. This is Tim Daggett in Salt Lake City at the Olympic trials, needing one of the best performances of his life on the still rings, which will be the third routine he will perform here today. Already a 9-0 on floor exercise, a 9-9 on pommel horse. He's been inconsistent but moving in the right direction, yet in this particular routine, Gordon, not putting too much pressure on that recuperating leg.
Yeah, the dismount is really the only thing he has to worry about, and during his recovery period, he's done a tremendous amount of upper body strength work. He's always been good on the rings. He should be even better now. Lowers down to an upside down or inverted cross and a giant swing into another inverted cross. Picking up just a little swing. Remember, we talked about his center having to move only straight up and down. He's getting away from the vertical there, and he's really generating a lot of swing. Oh, and a big over-rotation on his dismount. Not in a good position now.
Tim Daggett landing gingerly on that leg. He needs to be almost perfect at this point, and he was far from that.
Now, looking straight down on the rings, you can see anything that isn't straight under that bar is away from the vertical. Oh, see how far he's swinging now? If he doesn't drop out of this swing move at just the right place, it gets even worse. Another look now. He's at the wrong end of his swing to take his dismount. He needed to be at the other end of the swing. Carries it around and just over-rotates it. That's strictly a defensive move.
Now, Tim Daggett is looking at his score. It is an 8.9, and that really is a poke in the eye for him. I think he knows the reality now that this is just not going to be. The scores were just not high enough for him to stay with the rest of the gymnasts. And we're being told now that Tim Daggett is going to withdraw from these Olympic trials, and it is over. All the effort, all the recuperation, all the pain.
Al, I've been with Tim for much of these 9 months, and I got to tell you, it's the most courageous effort by an athlete I've ever seen.
He's talking now with Yafim Furman, his coach. His doctor is there. No one in the arena knows it yet. No one in the arena knows that Tim Daggett will have to live with what were the best of times for him. 1984. Those were the moments that belonged to him and his teammates. The gold medal times. 1988 will have to belong to someone else. Here are the current standings. It is still Charles Lakes leading the way in Salt Lake City. In a moment, we'll talk to Tim Daggett, who has called it quits.